Welcome Kasturians. In this video, we will discuss chapter 6 of history, that is the Great Uprising. So let's start. So as we discussed in the last video that there were certain causes that ultimately resulted in the people or especially the Indian sepoys to bring about this revolt. So apart from these causes which were able to culminate the anti-colonial feeling among the Indians, the immediate cause that led to the breaking away of this revolt was the greased cartridge incident. Actually, it was the Enfield Pritchett rifle which was to be used in the army, and the bullets, that is the cartridges of this rifle, they were covered with a greased paper, and the grease was made of the fat of cows and pigs. And to load the cartridge, the grease paper needs to be removed off by teeth. So as we all know, cow is auspicious for the Hindus, and it is a sacred animal basically. And for when it comes to Muslims, they consider pig to be a dirty animal and they do not eat pork also. So the both communities, the sepoys who were belonging to both the communities, they became angry, and it was a soldier, Mangal Pandey, who was stationed at Barakpur. He, as a result of this, when he was forced to use the cartridge by his officer, he shot dead he in fact fired at the British commander, and this incident took place on 29th of March 1857. And with this, he asked other sepoys to end the British rule and join him. But later on, Mangal Pandey was hanged for this incident, and this created unrest in the army camps all over India. And that's why the sepoys, on 10th of May, the soldiers, they raised the banner of their revolt. The sepoys, they raised their voice to revolt and killed the British officers. They released the sepoys who were already imprisoned by the colonial officers, and they seized the arms and ammunition and put fire to the British properties. The sepoys, they marched for Delhi, and after reaching Delhi, a battle was fought, and the sepoys who were already posted or stationed in Delhi, they also revolted and joined these sepoys who were coming from Barakpur, that is in near Kanpur. On reaching Delhi, the sepoys, due to the revolt of the sepoys which were already stationed in Delhi, these sepoys, these revolting sepoys, they got control over Delhi, and then they declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of India and the leader of the revolt. Later on, from Meerut and Delhi, this revolt or the uprising, it is spread to other parts, but it was confined only to the northern and central India. That is, in northern India, the major cities or places where this war it broke, they were situated, or they were belonging to Uttar Pradesh, as well as it was Madhya Pradesh, some parts of central India, that is Madhya Pradesh. They were there, the kings, they also revolted against the Britishers, like Kanpur, Lucknow, Jhansi, Bareilly, Gwalior, Faizabad and Ara. In Lucknow, the Residency was the major battleground. On 31st May 1857, the sepoys, they seized the Residency, and the British soldiers, they were made captive of the revolting sepoys for 5 months. The sepoys, they controlled the Residency from 23rd November till 16th March 1858. So for a time period of around 5 to 6 months, the officers, they were captive of the revolting sepoys. The sepoys, the revolt, it had several leaders, but these were confined to a particular area. Some of these leaders, they were like in Delhi, the Bakht Khan. In Kanpur, it was Nana Sahib who was declared as the Peshwa, and it was the army chief of Nana Sahib, that is Tantia Tope and Azimullah, who were fighting with the British. In Lucknow, it was Begum as Hazrat Mahal, assisted by Maulana Ahmadullah Shah, and in Jhansi, it was Rani Lakshmi Bai, who challenged the British authority when she was asked to leave the throne due to the doctrine of lapse. So in Bareilly, it was Khan Bahadur Khan, and who was the rebellion, and in Ara, and that is in a place in Bihar, and now some parts they are in Jharkhand. So in Ara, Kunwar Singh, he organized and he led the revolt, that is he was the leader of the revolt. But the Britishers, later on, the Britishers, they started recapturing the lost areas, especially of the North India, and they defeated the sepoys with British commanders like Colin Campbell and Henry Havelock. They were successful to recapture the areas which they lost earlier to the revolting sepoys, and after some time, Colin Campbell and Henry Havelock, they defeated the rebellions and took control of Delhi in September 1857. So this was a major setback for the rebellions, and Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was declared Emperor of India by the rebellion sepoys, he was captured and he was sent in exile to Rangoon, which is now known as Burma. Despite this, the rebel soldiers, they fought, but the Britishers, they were superior now with able army. Also, the British army was well known and was having modern weapons, and the rebellions on the other side, they were having less weapons with them. That's why they lost entirely, and the major leaders like Tantia Tope, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Nana Sahib, Begum Hazrat Mahal, these all were either killed or they fled to the neighboring countries, and from there they continued the struggle against the British. Now we will see why the uprising or this revolt, it failed. What were the reasons for failure of this revolt? The very first reason being that this revolt was confined only to a limited area. That is, it was confined to a part of country. It didn't spread to entire country, or the entire country didn't participated. Even the rulers, they refused to help the rebellions because they were hostile to the Britishers. Second was the lack of organization and lack of planning. The revolt was not organized, and that's why there was lack of coordination between the leaders, which ultimately led them to led them or deprived them of becoming a large force to face the Britishers, and hence the revolt was crushed. The movement was going on without any national or uniform leadership. So in the absence of the leadership, there this revolt lost its momentum, and then the Britishers, they succeeded in suppressing this revolt. The kings who were participating in the revolt, they were having their own reasons to fight against the British, but there was no such common reason or no such common leadership who can guide these rulers to fight in an organized army. The rebellions, they were having less supplies and less stock of weapons and finances, whereas the company soldiers and the company armies, they were having access to modernized weapons. That's why these revolts were crushed. This revolt and the rebellions, they were crushed by the British soldiers. Now we will see the nature of the uprising. See, this uprising was an unexpected event which the Britishers, they have not expected. So in order to nullify its glory, the British historians, they refer this war as the Sepoy Mutiny, whereas for the Indians this was the first war which brought the Indians closer, and it was the war in which the Hindus and Muslims united, they fought for liberation of the country. So this is glorified and often referred to by Indian historians as the first war of independence instead of the revolt of 1857. The peasants, the artisans, and the involvement of the local people before the Sepoy Mutiny, there were revolts at local level. So this revolt was popular because of the participation of the peasants, artists, and the local people at some places. That's why it is termed as a popular revolt. And this revolt also brought the Hindus and Muslims together. So this revolt is also well known for Hindu Muslim unity. When the Britishers, they succeeded in crushing the revolt, they introduced many reforms to strengthen their hold on India. First and the foremost or primary was the transfer of control of the Indian subcontinent into the hands of the crown or the British crown, by the who was assisted by the British Parliament. So it was in 1858 August month, the British Parliament passed an act, and this act made the power or the rule of English East Indian Company to come to an end, and the entire Indian nation, it went into the direct control of the crown or the queen, and a British cabinet minister was to be appointed to manage the affairs of India, who will be called the Secretary of State, and he will be having a team of members or the assistants. They are called Indian Council. The Secretary of State was directly responsible to the British Parliament. Also, the Act of 1858, it brought about changes in management and functioning of the government. The government of India would be headed by a Governor General who was directly appointed by the Queen. So since he was directly appointed by the Queen, he came to be known as Viceroy. And also there was an executive council which was to help the Viceroy, and a legislative council who will support to the Secretary of State, that is the Minister of British Cabinet, who will be appointed as the Secretary of State to look after the affairs of India or to manage the affairs of India. Also, after this revolt, when the British Parliament saw that this revolt became so popular because of the support of the local rulers. So in order to bring about a change in their ideology, the Queen, she assured to the kings that now no territories will be annexed. Also, the government will not interfere in their internal matters, and even sometimes the Queen ordered the British troops to help these kings to suppress the rebellion if they were roused from time to time in different parts of the country. Queen also promised, I just told you, not to interfere with the social and cultural life. Also, the British, they began to follow the policy of divide and rule. Why? Because they saw that it was the Hindus and Muslims, despite of entire differences between them, when it came to India, or when it comes to fight for India, together they united, and this was a major blow for the Britishers. And that's why, being an unexpected event, they lost the northern India to the rebellions, which they captured later on. But in the beginning, that is in the first war of independence, they lost their control over that particular part. Now we have the changes that were brought about in the army. Within the army, reorganization took place at a larger level, and from for upper level also. The European soldiers were also there and Indian soldiers were also there. So the ratio of European soldiers to the Indian sepoys or soldiers, it was changed. It was fixed at 1:2 in Bengal and 2:5 in the Bombay and Madras armies. That is, if there are 4 European soldiers, so after every 4 European soldier there will be only 1 Indian soldier. So this was the new improvement. Also, whatever important positions they were to be allotted, they were reserved now for the British or European troops. Okay, and they made provisions that now no Indian will become an army officer. They totally challenged and they disapproved the ideology of having this type of arrangement. Then when we see the European troops, they were given important divisions like artillery, and these divisions, why they gave these to Europeans? Because the Europeans, they do not bother for their officers, but the other persons, they bother and they follow the or obey the orders of their commanding officers. So that's why the important strategic position like control of cavalry and artillery, where the weapons they are kept, all this, it was taken away, and it was introduced in a new manner. Also, apart from this, when you see, there were 2 new things like appointing marshals and non-marshal. Marshal में कौन आएगा? These were the races like the Sikh, the Pathan and Gurkhas, who helped the Britishers to fight and suppress the uprising. So these 3 people belonging to these 3 communities, they were declared martial races. Martial यानी superior races, and they people from these races were recruited in the army in large numbers, and those who belonged to regions where the revolt was strong like Awadh, Bihar and central India, they were declared non-martial. So these non-martials, they were kept out of the army. So this was the chapter, these were the changes. That's all we have in this video. Thank you and have a nice day.